All right, good morning, everyone. And we have Hilary Bates on the line with us. So apologies for the slight delay in getting started this morning. By way of introduction, my name is Shaun Leisegang, and I'm going to be kind of moderating this conversation this morning. I head up a team called rapidMATION, and here at rapidMATION, we're all about automating processes using something called intelligent automation. And today we are very lucky to have Hilary Bates as our guest of honor for today's discussion. And Hilary is the Chief Claims and Operations Officer at Zurich Financial Services Australia. So Hilary, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and apologies for the delay. You've got to love talking about digital transformation and having a challenge being able to log in and join you by video.
No worries at all. All good, all good. And the irony is it is quite funny, right? But all good, all good. Thanks for joining us, Hilary. We know you're really busy and we really appreciate your time. And I'm sure the audience is going to get some great insights from some of the things you have to share. So today's session is all about digital transformation in claims, the foundation of accelerated digital growth. So Hilary, just to get started, I know many people have heard about digital transformation, but I'm always keen to hear how different people define it. So could you start by giving us your definition of digital transformation?
Sure. So I look at digital transformation as when you adopt technology, so digital technology to transform services or a business. And that's either through replacing the manual processes and the manual sort of key typing that takes place, or updating existing digital processes with new ones. Where I get excited by it is, for me, the digital transformation and those solutions don't just lead to efficiencies through things like automations, but when it's working at its best, it actually starts seeing innovation and creativity. It allows your people to really focus on the things that will make a difference, but gives you a chance to think about how you may really rethink how you do things with a customer rather than all those traditional ways of working.
Yeah, brilliant. What a great definition, right? And I guess there's many companies out there, right? And they might be at different stages of their digital transformation journey. Some may have just started, some people's journey has been accelerated by things like COVID. And I love this meme that I put up on screen now, right? And this meme said, who led the digital transformation of your company? Was it the CEO, the CTO, or was it COVID-19? And I guess what we've seen out there, right, is overnight, some companies have had to kind of accelerate their digital transformation strategy. And in accelerating that digital transformation strategy, I guess there's many tools and technologies that can help with automation. And I know that you use something called Robotic Process Automation, or sometimes referred to as RPA. So for those people who may have not heard about RPA before, can you tell us a bit more about what RPA is?
Sure. So yes, we are using RPA quite extensively here at Zurich. It's really a technology that allows anyone to be able to configure software or the robot to really emulate the actions of the human. So how somebody will interact with a digital system to be able to execute on a process, be it, processing a payment, processing a claim, doing a transaction. It emulates those keystrokes to capture the data and manipulate the actions of the applications just like a human does. The good things about robots is I always think of them as lots of R2-D2s sitting in a room, but they never sleep and they don't make mistakes unless you configure it to make a mistake. Where we're really using it and where I see huge benefits from the robots is you can automate a lot of those very repetitive tasks, the sort of the tasks where those keystrokes will be repeated over and over again. That allows our people to really be able to focus on different type of tasks, and because they're running 24 hours a day, you're able to get through a lot of work that way, which also is seeing things speed up for our customers and for our people.
Yeah, beautiful, right? What a great definition. And we give our robots a variety of different names. And many people, I guess, haven't actually seen one of these software bots or digital workers in action. So I'm actually just playing a little video for people to kind of see what one of these might look like. And in this scenario, it's actually one of these software bots. So all the clicks that you're seeing on the screen right now is actually one of these software bots doing all those tedious, mundane, and repetitive tasks that Hilary referred to, right? And in this case, it's actually it's for an insurance broker. This is actually a debtors process. So what this little software bot is doing, it's downloading kind of a debtors aging schedule. It's going through, loading up some client records, and then going through, and it will actually send out debtors notifications all automatically. And in so doing, it's freed up human users from these tedious, mundane, repetitive tasks, and obviously allowed the human users to focus on higher value work, which ties in really nicely with how you defined it, Hilary. So thanks very much for that. So yeah, here's just an example, but I'd love to hear a bit more about how you guys have used RPA very successfully at Zurich. So can you share your story on what challenges you were facing and how you used RPA to help solve those challenges?
Yeah, so we've been actually having quite a bit of fun with it. I have one of the teams I manage is our business transformation team. So we look not just within claims, but actually across all of Zurich for the opportunities. And I sort of have a couple of different examples. You know, we start with some really easy things, such as we have over 50,000 claims a year that come in. We have a robot that runs over payments that go out to our law firms. So it's a very simple, takes the invoice, puts it into our system, and the payment goes out. We also have a robot that will act as the second authorizer if it's within certain parameters. So for small payments to GPs, for example, under $100, low risk for us. So payment there that runs through. Where it starts getting kind of interesting then is the sort of the next layer, when you have it not just run sort of a payment process, but you have it really mimic that human in terms of going between different applications. That has varied for us from how we use robotics to build what I call that bridge between legacy systems. So right now we're running I just launched and are now doing our third tranche actually of robots that sit across policy processing. But really at the heart of what underwriters do. So it takes information from a system called Z Horizon about an account. It runs it into our PoliSci mainframe financial system. It's pulling information from a pricing system in terms of how it prices that account. It's dropping information in an R drive underwriting folder. It's pulling information out of the R drive underwriting folder in terms of the broker and the customer to plug that into not just our PoliSci mainframe system, but also into Outlook to generate an email and ultimately generate a quote and a policy that will go out to our insureds. So the beauty of that is it's taking lots and lots of tasks that would take 2 hours for somebody to do, but not just 2 hours for one person to do. You're waiting for various other departments to be able to weigh in, and it's taking it down to about a 10-15-minute task. So some really great opportunities that I see in terms of how you can solve some of those legacy system challenges and how you can speed up things as well for the customer.
Yeah, beautiful, right? What a beautiful story. And it sounds like you're getting some immense value out of it. I know we've been working with a number of different, insurance underwriters as well, and doing anything from renewals to new business quotes to everything in between. So it's just great to see how this type of technology is having immense benefits, for the whole insurance industry, right? For both underwriters and brokers. So one of the most common questions that I get asked is, how do you actually measure success from your company's digital transformation efforts, right? And could you share with us how you measure success at Zurich?
Yep. So actually quite a few different ways. We have different parameters to it. So, first up, it's the business case financial benefit. So is the robot ultimately going to be able to pay for itself? So we've got quite a business case process to run through, although quite streamlined in terms of benefit and payback expectations for these robots. We then look at things such as the robot performance, so things like error rates. That's that component that the robot won't make a mistake, but how you configure it will, and the more complexity you add to it, the more risk there is of that. So the error rates or exception rates, what gets kicked out for a human to look at. And then we'll also look at things, and we build this very much into setting ourselves higher targets for customer satisfaction scores, turnaround times, and our employee engagement as well. So we'll have a range of different metrics we use.
Yeah, beautiful, right? And it's really nice to see that you've paired, the dollars and cents metric with also kind of the people and the softer benefits of automations, right? And we often say automation is all about people and how we can help our people do more with less. And I guess that's even more relevant today, and especially in these crazy times that we're in at the moment, right? And one of the things we always start off asking customers is about how many hours are they looking to save, and then we kind of work back from there. So you can then actually go through and redeploy those hours to alleviate those people from the tedious, mundane, repetitive tasks and allow them to focus on that higher value work. So it's great to see you guys are using that in practice in the real world.
Yeah, Yeah, and as you look at growing, I mean, we're looking right now at some growth areas. It's a great opportunity for us to say we can use the robot to clear out some of that mundane work and have people instead work on where we want to grow. So it's not always about releasing FTE, it's how you redeploy it to where you want to focus as a business.
Yeah, beautiful, right? Beautiful. All right, great. Well, let's move on a little bit. So what do you consider the greatest obstacle to delivering digital innovation within your company and even in the wider marketplace?
Oh, that's a good one. There's so many. I think some of the greatest ones are almost it's sometimes the mindset where we encounter challenges internally is from people who don't quite know how this works, and you need to be able to take that risk, take that chance, take that first step. Give it a go and get those people on board for that journey. I also think, we'll have, as we always do and as every company will, you have the debate of, do you want to do the robot or do you want to update your legacy systems? I'd really push to say that legacy system is a 2, 3, 4 year kind of project. We have to do things now. So how do you get that really the burning platform to be able to convince people that this is a worthwhile investment, even if it's something that you may not be using or in 2 or 3 years time. And in fact, when you're building robots, you want to be agile to be able to adapt them as you need to. And probably the sort of last one is that risk that the robot doesn't work, not because of the robot, but because of what it's sitting across. So where we've had some challenges or have gone the wrong path on a robot, particularly in our early days, was we were building it over broken processes. A robot won't fix those broken processes. So you need to be able to spend some time, address those, get the right flow, get the ideal flow that you want to have, and then overlay the robot on top of those new processes.
Yeah, beautiful, and some great hints and tips in there, right? And just to complement that, I think one of the biggest blockers we see is actually people not wanting to change, and they don't want to change because they're not sure of what the outcome is going to be and how this can actually help them do more with less. So I guess I'll complement those kind of hints and tips you gave us with always focus on the outcome, right? At the beginning of any automation initiative, there's generally 1 of 3 reasons why anyone may automate a process. That's obviously number 1 is probably to save costs, right? But secondly, it's often to increase efficiency, right? And it's allowing people to do more with less, which is especially relevant in today's times. And the third reason we often see is because they have to, and that could be regulation, compliance issues, or something like that. But really, it's vital that when we start that program, everyone across the team is aware and on board with what the outcome is going to be and what we're looking to achieve. And then you can break that outcome down into a plan consisting of several different digestible chunks that you can deliver on to take people with you along on that journey so that they are all part of that journey and they get to that outcome with you. All right. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. So another thing that we often give customers kind of some insight on is to say, don't think that you have to automate 100% of the process, right? And I love my good friend Pareto, and I always say if we can automate 80% of the process, that's going to free up a lot of human user time. And that other 20% is often where all the crazy rules happen, right? And while you might want to get to that 100%, in that 20%, you can always use your human users to take care of some of those kind of tasks. And instead of trying to automate it and adding some of that complexity in, you could focus on the 80% scenario, and that will still free up heaps and heaps of time for your users. Hilary, keen to get your insight on that. So do you always look at automating 100% of the process, or do you use it kind of tops and tails? How do you use it on your side?
Yeah, it's exactly the same way. You need to look, I sort of say, what problem are you trying to fix for starters? So really understanding the customer journey or the employee journey. So what outcome do you want to have? And if you're aiming, you'll never get, I don't think, ever really sort of that 100%. If you do, you're going to be taking such a long time to get there. So we will have, and I use that underwriting example that I gave, we have some front end work that has to happen to kick the robot off, and we'd much rather, have 10 minutes of somebody's time invested into that front end piece, rather than trying to work around the complexity of that, which has risk to us in terms of accuracy or errors or exceptions. So get that part right, because we're comfortable the rest of the process will then follow pretty much 99.5% along that journey.
Yeah, beautiful, right? Beautiful. All right, excellent, Hilary. I think that's been awesome. I think you've conveyed some really, really good insights into how you guys are doing it that side. But just before we wrap up, are there any final parting thoughts or comments that you'd like to share with some of the attendees today?
Yeah, look, I think sort of always reflect on this. We started a journey doing this ourselves, and it was a hit and miss journey. In fact, we built some robots that when that person left, nobody was able to replicate and keep up and running. So I do advocate for partnership with the experts on it to get you started and get things up and running, and to make sure you really leverage their expertise. That's a journey we're on now, and it has made all the difference to the various ways we have been doing, and it's one that makes me very comfortable and confident in the ongoing investment.
Yeah, brilliant, right? Brilliant. And I think from my side, I'll end off with just have a go, right? It's no longer about if you're going to do it, but rather when you're going to do it. And there are many, many other companies out there just like yours that are already using this technology to great effect. So you also need to start thinking that soon this is no longer going to be a competitive advantage, but rather just permission to play. So with that in mind, there's actually no time like the present to have a go and get started on your hyperautomation journey. If anyone's interested in getting started, one of the packs that we have is this pack called the rapidMATION Proof of Value Pack. It's a great 10-day kind of consulting engagement where we build out your first automation for you. I highly encourage any of our customers or people that we start working with to use this just to have a go and get started on your intelligent automation journey. All right, with that in mind, I'll leave you with just one other little slide. So you can take a look at rapidmation.com/digital underwriter. And on that link, you'll see heaps of different examples of some other kind of processes that we've actually automated inside the insurance space. And I'll just give you some nice food for thought on some of the things you might be able to do with these little robotic process automation processes. So with that in mind, I'd like to thank you all for your time. Hilary, I'd like to thank you especially for your time. Thanks very much for your invaluable insights, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.